Trevor Lawrence or a projected mid 23 first?
Projected mid, I think I'll take the shot on Lawrence.
Oh, I think I'll take the shot on the pick.
Trevor Lawrence and DJ Moore or Dak Prescott?
I'm waiting for Shane. This is a good one.
With that, I can risk the Trevor Lawrence not being a garbage pail because I got DJ Moore coming with him, who everyone thinks is going to be wide receiver 1 next year. So yeah, I'll take TLAW.
On the surface, it looks like a great trade. You know, you're getting a guy that could be Dak Prescott and DJ Moore, who could be a wide receiver 1, and then reality hits, and DJ Moore is wide receiver 16, and Trevor Lawrence is not Dak Prescott, and you're wishing 3 weeks into the year you could have upgraded at your quarterback spot. I think I'd still lean Dak only because I know the startup values of those guys, and it's probably like a first for a third or fourth and a sixth, something like that. I mean, which you wouldn't do on the surface, but yet you put it in the frame of the trade.
Trevor Lawrence, a 23 first and a 24 first, or Kyler Murray?
Oh, Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Dak Prescott, and I was like, well, okay. Would Shane change his mind on that one? Yeah, I would go Kyler.
Where do you think TLAW fits with the 23 first?
So I think mid first is probably the right range. Now, I definitely think it's roster construction standpoint specific too, because I'm not going to go and pay my 23 first if that's the only one I have on a team where I already have 2 good quarterbacks. Seems a little redundant to do that right now, but you could also argue that that would be a move where you can insulate yourself from basically you don't have to use him this year. And if he blows up, you may have an asset that's worth twice as much next year. So you could also look at that strategy and go, hey, if I'm a mid to late first team, I have Lamar and Josh Allen, maybe I buy Trevor Lawrence. And that's just simply a buy with the hopes that I can flip later instead of holding my 23 first and expecting that I'm going to get 2 smash assets during the season. Maybe someone would rather have Trevor Lawrence during the season and go, oh, I'll trade you Vontae Adams and Saquon Barkley because I need a quarterback, and I wouldn't have loved your first because it's looking like the 109 or the 110 now that you've started to contend. Will you trade me TLAW? So I think that there is some merit on a team where you have him kind of insulated. What I don't want to do is if I'm a middling team and my QB2 is like Mac Jones, I don't want to blow my first now, even if I think I'm going to be a decent team.
Get TLAW.
Right. I don't want to do it now and just say, because I'm not guaranteeing myself any points at all by trading and getting TLAW. In fact, if I have like Mac Jones or Tua, like those guys could be better than him this year.
Yep.
So like I'm not really guaranteeing to help my team, which doesn't really help my first become any later. And I've just blown that one asset that I think could get me something different during the year. So I think you can basically, you can look to buy in any situation, but you have to have the right roster around him to buy. I think that would be my my stance.
Trevor Lawrence or Ryan Tannehill and a 24 first?
Not enough. 24 first is not going to get it done. And Tannehill, not enough.
I think the tear down move is probably that same trade, but you try to get Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins or Tua. I mean, that's aggressive, but I think that's where you start. And if they say, oh, hey, give me back Michael Gallup or give me back a second, then you have something to think about. You know, if I said, Shane, I'll give you a 24 first and Kirk Cousins and you give me TLAW and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you're thinking about that trade because you're getting the first and you're getting a quarterback you think is probably going to be pretty good for the next couple of years.
Yes.
And you're shedding a player that you couldn't have got a first for anyway, which is essentially like a second. And it alleviates you having to give up a second too. Like you're basically shedding one of those players that's like a tweener where it's not even a guy you can get a first for. So like I think that's another way where you can try to tear down, but I don't think you just do the 2-for-1. You send Lawrence for like Cousins and a 24 first. Why does the team in Cousins go, oh, let me blow my 24 first to upgrade, but I'm not really upgrading. I'm just upgrading in like dynasty perception, but I'm probably losing points over the next 2 years. I think that's a hard deal to do with the 2-for-1.
Trevor Lawrence or Mitch Trubisky and DK Metcalf?
I'd still go Lawrence, but that's an intriguing deal where if that was in my inbox on the other side and I look and I go, ooh, you know, Trubisky is actually a nice QB3, you know? So if I'm relying on him to start, I'm less likely to do that because if I'm relying on Mitch Trubisky to start, I'm not in a place where I can be trading away Trevor Lawrence, if that makes sense.
Yep.
But if I'm not penciling that quarterback in and he's my QB3, I'm okay. I would love somebody besides DK, but I think that form of a deal is intriguing.
Yeah, I don't know. DK gets it done for me as much as I love the Kalen. Right now, his buying power is a little down, kind of like Ethereum. So I'm going to hold off for a little bit. In that situation, I actually like the fact that I'm not counting on TLAW to start, because then he's just like something I can keep on my bench and go, all right, well, maybe he does blow up, and if he does, well, then what can I do?
Startup season. Let's talk about where TLAW goes in startups.
Still think he's a second round pick. I think it just depends on the direction of some of the teams. Like, I would probably argue that he is the QB I would take after my big 9, which includes Watson and Wilson, and then obviously Prescott, Burrow, Lamar, Kyler, Mahomes, Allen, Herbert. Like, you can argue him as high as QB 10. I think you could put Trey Lance in the same boat. Like, those are the two guys where if you want to hit a home run at quarterback, it's probably Lance and Lawrence that would come next. But I've seen in some startups where people are taking Jalen Hurts over him. People are taking Matt Stafford over him. And they're just going like, okay, I'm probably not getting an immense upside player here because there's some risk. There's some age risk or some, future starter risk. But I'm pretty much locking in performance.
They're going to score a lot of points. They're going to score a lot of points, right?
Right. I think that's probably a suboptimal play to take like Matt Stafford over Trevor Lawrence. There's really no way you win that deal unless you're just willing to ride Matt Stafford's points for the next 2 or 3 years, because you kind of already know his value is going to point in only one direction. Can't really get any higher. And you can almost look at next year and you go, probably 2 of 4, Hurts, Lawrence, Lance, or Fields, are going to blow past Stafford this year. 2 might fall behind him, but I'm guessing there's going to be 1 or 2 that goes way ahead of him. So it's like, how much exposure do you want to have? So I think startup-wise, he's still a second-round pick. I'm usually, let's get 2 first-rounders, right? So I can get one of the top 7 or 8 quarterbacks. Is it a better strategy if you have a team where, let's say you do lock in Herbert or Mahomes or Allen, and it's just too much for you to trade up and get another pick? Like, people are wanting like 3 of your next 4 startup picks, and they don't want to give you back any extras, or you have to give up your future first. Do you sit in the second and see if TLAW falls to you, or see if he falls to 207, 208? You should be able to trade up from like the 211 or 210 to get him. And then you just build with a third quarterback like Cousins, Carr, Tua, and you're taking a little more risk there. But I think if you go into the season and you go with Allen, Lawrence, and Cousins, you can do that in round 1, 2, and 4. That's a QB room right now where we stand. I would be okay going into the season with. And there's a lot of upside. That, like, if Lawrence hits, Cousins becomes
that's the dream QB room right there.
Right, and if Lawrence hits, Cousins becomes your flexible QB3 next year that you can try to sell on if somebody needs a quarterback. He's disposable, whereas right now you're drafting him as, well, I kind of need him.